What's Your Geek? I'm Rob Dorgan, and I'm here to talk about what I'm passionate about, what you're passionate about, and what's cool about Dungeons & Dragons, the world's greatest role-playing game. On today's episode, I'm talking all about player characters. Because the secret is everyone invests some part of their own psyche in their player characters, right? You can try playing a bunch of different parts, but they got to come from somewhere, and where they come from is you. And I've got a master's in applied behavioral science, so I know what I'm talking about. Now, my favorite edition of Dungeons & Dragons, before you boo, just listen to me closely, is 4th edition. And you might say, why is 4th edition such a horrible thing? Well, a lot of people left it. A lot of people went to Pathfinder. Some people went back to previous editions. Some people are still playing 3rd edition. But you know what? Some people are still playing 1st edition. What I love about 4th edition, it was my one opportunity to play a character from start to finish. In other words, from beginning adventurer, wet behind the ears, to fully end up 30th level, divine being, or chosen, or horde master, or what have you. Because the secret is, what makes life meaningful, what makes it interesting, is it's finite. No one lives forever. No one's a vampire, and I don't think anyone can actually write a good vampire, because we have no idea what that would be like to have the potentiality to be immortal. And I don't think people really want to live forever. I think we're just afraid of death. But that's what gives life meaning. So when I saw 4th edition come out, and it actually had end gates, it had epic destinies. So instead of characters getting to 20th level and then say, oh, well, you just continue on to 25th and 30th and 50th, it's like, no, 30th level is the end point. So I started making a dwarf paladin, Morgrim Soulforge, with the 4th edition player's handbook. And when I started Morgrim, he was this little guy, because he liked to wield an executioner's axe. Like, it's just like a awesome battle axe. It does a ton of damage and is great when you roll crits. But eventually Morgrim busted through 10th level and got to Paragon level. At Paragon level, he moved from helping out little towns and doing odd jobs for the local constabulary to going to the countries, talking with kings. So I felt he needed a new miniature. So I replaced him. More armor, bigger axe, and now he's really a bad looking dude. But Morgrim also was not just a paladin of anyone. He was a dwarf, and most people say, oh, a dwarf, well, you probably worship Morden, the all-father of the dwarves. But actually, Morgrim was born in a dragonborn monastery and grew up worshiping Bahamut. So I say Morgrim was bred by Moradin to battle for Bahamut. Now this is an aspect of Bahamut. This means this would be a Bahamut incarnated, not as an entire powerful being, but just an aspect of him if he needed to lay some beat down on Tiamat, for example, the mother of evil dragons. Morgrim also eventually got a mount. This is a silver dragon, and Morgrim would ride around on this and be even more awesome. And I was so excited when 4th edition finally came out with Divine Power. This is a book that's all about Avengers, Clerics, Invokers, and Paladins. But you know what sucks? They went all for Charisma Paladins. Morgrim's a Strength-based Paladin. In 4th edition, you could choose Charisma or Strength primarily. And this has great options for Charisma, but really crappy ones for Strength. So I was left with a Paladin that was subpar, but I love Morgrim. You call him subpar? Right in the face, okay? And I'm not a violent person. Here's another cool thing I did. I love Morgrim so much, I took this picture, right? This picture of this Bahamut and this picture of him, and I made a nice little image, right, of Morgrim battling for Bahamut, right? I carried this around with me to every single game day to show people this is how much I love my character. Home games, con games, I flew across the country, spent a couple $1,000s just to play him over in some Gen Con, Another cool thing I did with Morgrim, one thing we got was one time we got a king's writ. We got some legal authority to talk about the king. I laminated this. I didn't just keep this for this adventure. Every single adventure I brought this out and said, hey, I got the king's writ. That means I'm like Charles Bronson, judge, jury, and executioner. But the best piece about Morgrim came when this little article came out by Robert J. Schwab. He'll always have a awesome place in my heart because he came out with Channel of Divinity, Bahamut's Champions, and this has the Chosen of Bahamut. And this became Morgrim's epic destiny. See, when I first started playing Morgrim, I had no idea how he was going to retire. But this gave me the option, like, oh, you're the Chosen of Bahamut, which is basically, I have a divine seed from Bahamut. Should Bahamut ever die, I can basically discorporate my entire being and be reborn as Bahamut. Bahamut's vessel. Now, I hope to God, that Bahamut, as Bahamut is the god in this case, that'll never happen. But Morgrim's ready. And what's even more, I've got something that I want to be buried with. I'm not talking about my character, I'm talking about in real life. You see, this is my character log from 4th edition. This represents hundreds and hundreds of hours of playing 4th edition. Not just Morgrim Soulforge, but all my characters. You know, I've got Morgrim in here. I've got Kelv Grimville. Kelv Grimville is a ranger. He's an awesome little dude. I got a crossbow here because it looks like a really cool miniature, but he actually wielded 2 swords. But my point is, there are just hundreds of hours in here. Each of these here is a character log, right? Each page has 1, 2, 3 adventures. 1, 2, 3 adventures. Each of these represent about 4 to 5 hours of my actual time. And there are just pages and pages and characters and characters. But Morgan will always be my favorite, and I'll always remember him because when he was 30th level, there was an evil dragon that was controlled by a sorcerer's disembodied spirit, and we actually used this dragon and Morgrim, and at one point Morgrim was inside the dragon, and we were able to take him and take this fire thing out and shove him right up there, and it was freaking awesome. It was freaking cool. One of the favorite moments of my life. I mean, that story is more real to me than things that actually happen sometimes in my own life, right? So that's my point. We all invest pieces of ourselves in our characters. They're important, vital pieces. But the heart of it is a finite arc. And usually what happens is the campaign sort of like just kind of peters out. The DM gets bored or tired, or the players move away. But with organized play in 4th edition, I saw the opportunity to take a character from 1st level to 30th level. And I did it, right? Now again in 5th edition, organized play as well. Now they don't have that retirement option at 20th level, so it's not quite as cool to me, but I will say organized play is your best opportunity to play a character from start to finish and really see their story arc. So I encourage all of you to go out and get involved. Go to your game store, find where conventions are, right? I mean, DM, play, have some fun, but organized play is a really awesome way to support your character's arc. Now, of course, if you can get in a home game and find a really great DM and he'll like play forever and years and years and years, that's great. But for most of us, the reality is the DM gets tired or burned out or bored and wants to rotate. And so organized play is an opportunity to take that character and continue to play them until you finish that story arc. Well, thanks for watching another episode of What's Your Geek. I'm really excited you were here, and tune in next time. But meanwhile, if you subscribe to my channel, leave some comments, tell me about your favorite characters, what kind of cool things that they do. Let the whole world know. And if you have any really interesting ideas for episodes, I'd love to hear them. Trust me, I'll go through all of them, I'll read each and every one, and I'll pick the best ones, and I'll do episodes on them. Now in the meantime, go tell your friends, your family, and your Dungeons & Dragons group about this channel, and roll a crit.